Once we get something and it has not met, we've already met the need with that one thing, move it along, because God got something else. See, your 150 suits, Pastor, you need to move on along with me. Because I'm seeing spiritual garage sale here.
I don't see no illustration.
Use it, Doctor. Use it, sir.
And then we get to verse 7.
Amen.
So, the Jews, when they got angry and emotional about something, they would tear their clothes. We don't see people do that today because our clothes cost too much money. Nobody's going around ripping their clothes off unless their name is Incredible Hulk. But when they would get angry at Christ because he continued to break their traditions, they would rip up their clothes. Either their many wives would have a needle and thread on standby because they were ripping their clothes on a regular basis. Because Jesus had them ripping their clothes every time he opened his mouth. He was like, oh, he blasted. Every single time. I bet you the wives was not liking them very much. Every single time he come from talking to Jesus, he got his clothes ripped off, or that word, or rip some stuff off. But we as believers will have a time for mourning. And when the Jewish people would mourn, they would rip their clothes as well. They would be so emotional. That's how they were. We get emotional. Our emotion is a little bit different. We don't rip our clothes, but we may cry and weep and things of that nature. But this is like saying getting our life back lined up. See, once you rip something apart, you didn't discard it. You had to get the needle and thread out and sew it back together. This is like saying getting our life back lined up in its seams, which is another way of saying your relationship with God needs to be lined up. If you rip something off and your relationship is torn, now you got to get it back together. See, one thing I learned about trust is if you break it, it's hard to get back. So if we do break something, we try our best to mend those things back together. So over almost 11 years I have been saved. I have taken the principle of you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Somebody told me that a long time ago. And that is saying we should listen twice as much as we speak. That's why he says the time to speak. It's the time to listen. The time to speak and the time to be silent. Which is hard for me because I'm a very sociable person. I like to learn. I enjoy teaching. But the mouth can be the deadliest member of the body. And we must learn when to use it for God's purpose and when not to use it. It's just like a gun. It has its use. Some could use it to kill food. Some could use it to protect their household. But some can use it to go into school and kill up a whole lot of people. It's not about the weapon. It's about the one wielding it.
You're right, sir.
I recently had a friend lose a parent. And all I could say was, we'll pray for you. If you need anything, let us know. Sometimes that's all we can say. And in most cases, sometimes we may need to say less. And then we get to verse 8. Loving and hating, war and peace. I know that we are bound by the nature of God if we are His. He has given us the ability to love the correct way.
Right, sir.
But what about hate? Are we supposed to hate? Psalms 97:10 says that ye that love the Lord hate evil. He delivereth them out of the hand of the wicked. I seen a guy at my job say something to another guy. And it made me hate what he said, not hate him.
All right. It's good.
It's different. But I'm going to try to explain what that means. This is the only way we can continue to love a person because this is the exact way God loved us.
All right, sir.
I love you, but I hate your sin. See, when the people at the job are going crazy, you got to look at it 2 ways. Whose hand is up their back controlling the strings?
Come on, Doctor.
Is God controlling your strings? Or is the devil controlling your strings?
Right.
And if you don't know who's controlling your strings, then most likely you own the wrong team.
You're right.
The puppet master got you controlled, so they say stuff. And you got to remember that I don't hate you, I hate your sin. I hate the fact that you're being used and manipulated and you don't even know.
Oh God. Oh God.
And that's the sad thing. The Lord hates the sin not the people.
All right, sir.
Because it is the sin that separates us from the love of God. But it is the love of God that separates us from the sin of our lives in this world.
All right, sir.
At a time of war and a time of peace. There is a time to wage war against enemies.
All right, sir.
The enemies of God. And a time to make peace with those who are or who were enemies.
All right, sir.
Right? Some of the wars that America has been involved in have not always been God sent. And some have.
Oh, God.
My reasoning behind that is because if God did not want us to win them wars, we would not have won them wars.
You're right. You're right.
So I have to think about it. Even though these presidents and politicians are doing what it is that they do, I can't focus on you. I got to focus on the one that's controlling everything around you.
Yeah, yeah.
And so while he stands up and says this and does that, I'm saying, God, be merciful to a sinner like me
Oh, God.
and like those who want to follow you. So we are, when the leaders and the people who are in leadership are not always following God, how do we know that we're going in the battle for the right reasons and the right things? But yet we make it out of these wars. Not all of us. Some pay with their lives. So there is a time for war. There is a time for peace, but we must follow the instructions. So what does this mean? What does this all mean? There is a God. There is, in God's plan, instructions for being satisfied in the time that we are living in. When you have to teach your child, God says, what God says about homosexuality, marriage, drugs, alcohol, and false religions at 5 years old, it's time. We may not like the time, but it's time. A time where people hate God and the people of God, and how the people of God should deal with these types of persecutors. Should we fight them the way that they fight us? Or should we fight them the way God said fight them? How to handle seasons of having and not having. And being satisfied and not being satisfied. And knowing that it is God who gives to all men liberally. It's the reason why I'm not a millionaire. I don't know why. I wish I would. I knew why. He might say, son, you know what? If I give you the money, it'll drive you mad. Okay, God. Thank you for not giving me the money. See, how to handle those seasons. Instructions on how to handle birth and how to handle death. Because these events in life are going to happen out of the control of man, and only God knows why. It all boils down to these three principles. We must be satisfied so much that we understand everything we have is a gift from God. Everything we have, money, talents, friends, marriages, children, material possessions, health, home, cars, bikes, boats, whatever you want to lay up under there, even the country you living in. I know it's crazy. When they shooting us on the street every day, I know it sounds crazy, but we have to still look at it as a gift. Because we could be the little kids in Africa searching for just clean water.
All right, sir.
A good meal. We could be there. And then we have to look at it as, are we satisfied so much that we notice what is going on in the other people's lives around us? We should not be so satisfied that the suffering of other people goes unnoticed. Or like the rich man in Luke this morning, where he looked and he seen that this man was in need of something and he just did not have any compassion. I often, on my way to pick up parts, I drive down Lancaster, where the homeless people are out in the heat and cold and the elements. This reminds me that if it were not for the blessings of God and the provisions of God, I could be out there with them.
Yes, sir.
As a matter of fact, I'm one traumatic check away from that.
Yes. All right, sir.
We must be satisfied so much that we trust God in times of suffering and distress. This is a crazy companionship between anxiety and satisfaction. For example, doctors find something that looks like cancer. This fills up the person with anxiety and fear. But after the doctor comes back and says that everything is okay, we are filled with gratitude and satisfaction that the results were good. Our satisfaction in life is going to be a direct result of how well we follow the instructions.
That's good, sir.
Amen?
Amen.
Amen. Doors of the church.
God bless you, sir.
I'm often thrown for a loop being a mechanic, because research is everything. You have to research everything. And I found out that when you're dealing with God, He gonna make you research everything.
Yes, sir.
And one of the amazing things about what you find when you dig, now you understand. Now I understand personally what it's like to dig for treasure and receive. So just a little bit. I don't think He gives us all of it because we get big heads. But every time I dig, I get a little bit more, and I thank God that those directions that He sets in front of us, they're mysteries to people that don't know. But He's set people in place throughout our lives and throughout our season to show us this is what this means, this is what that means. So this morning, if there is anyone here who don't quite know if they're on the right track, or maybe they want prayer and they want to be able to clearly be able to find and follow the instructions, we will be more than happy to pray. We will be more than happy to lead you to Christ or whatever it may be. But this morning, the doors of the church are open.